it working? And if so, can I hear myself? Mic check. That's the right one. Mic check, mic check. Okay. I heard myself at least a little bit, so that's good. All right. So we are going through this morning, and we're gonna keep working on the West Ronfauer zone. And this morning we're working on fixing up some foliage stuff. So we got all these grasses, and this one I edited yesterday. Just make it a little bit darker. So, where was it? It was on the tent. Yeah, that's what I edited. Okay. We're going to go through and do every single one of these. So we've got a tint here. We'll go down to green, darker green. And I'll put the color picker right here. Move this over. I'm just going to go to the select window and find... Yeah, that's the one that we're editing right there, is that instance of it. So we want to go probably a little bit darker. Not quite black, but just a little bit darker. Just want it to blend in with the landscape material that we used. I think that looks pretty good for now. Adjust the tint on all of these. Okay, so there's another instance of this one that we're doing. I want it to feel somewhat vibrant. There you go. Got some color differences. Just the tint on this one. Very green. Okay. Go over in the viewport and just look at this one as we're changing it. See what it looks like in our world. It looks pretty good. It kind of matches the other ones. I'm gonna go a little bit darker. There you go. That looks nice. And Do this for those ferns too. We're just gonna kind of play around for a little bit and we're gonna mess around with a lot of the foliage settings to try to get everything to just disperse nicely. Just the tint. Okay, I'm gonna go look at these. That looks good too. And also, I'm gonna adjust the scale on some of these. We'll go minimum value of 1 and we'll do a maximum value of 2. That way we would get a little bit more variety in the general size. And then the Z offset minimum, I'm going to do -1. What the negative offset is going to do is, ideally, it'll just barely place the grass under the ground so that way we can make sure that we don't have any like floating grass on the landscape. Beetle. That's interesting. Let's see. Interesting. Hope Unreal doesn't crash. It might. Okay, let's see if we can adjust the ferns. Get their coloration looking a little bit different. Okay, albedo color. Okay, so that's working. You can see the different colors. So I'm going to go down to the green and we're going to adjust the darkness on this too. Still a little too green, I think. It's about as dark as we can get. So, do I like the way those look? Yeah, I mean, I think those look good. Kind of gives the bottom edges of them kind of a darker look. Yeah, I think that looks good. Fantastic, and that actually adjusted every single one of our ferns, so that's good. So, sweet. So the coloration on these now. So we'll go through and erase all of these. just going to go to paint, and we'll just kind of... Oh, oops. I'm going to make sure that I've got all of these selected to delete all of them. Okay. So we're going to do paint. I'm going to drop my brush size down a little bit. We'll just see what this looks like for kind of variety of foliage. All right. I think that's probably a little thin. Delete those out again. And let's see. So we got a minimum offset of, or the scale rather, of 1 to 2. So I think that's good. And let's adjust the density to 100 on these, and let's see what that looks like. I'm gonna drop the radius down to 2 on all of these as well. Alright, and let's see what that looks like. I think we're getting closer. Getting closer. Okay, let's bump the radius down to 1. Oops. Okay, and then let's paint that on. See what that looks like. There you go. That looks a little fuller. Yeah, there you go. I think that looks good. All right. Cool. So we are just going to drop a bunch of this foliage in. And I've got these adjusted to, for VR, I've got the, kind of distance that these are rendering in. Just a little bit closer than those are rendering. So, see how this looks a little later on, but also going to do a lot of smoothing of the world too this morning. So, before we lay down all that foliage, I'm going to do a little bit of smoothing. Okay. I want to smooth that out a little bit. Just kind of going through and looking for any little pots or divots. And I'm actually going to go to paint here. And we're going to use no plants here. The plants on this material that I was using on this do not render well. Wrong layer. Oh no, that bug is back again. Bummer. Well, that's okay. At least kind of remember how I fixed it yesterday. I'm going to pull that strength on that brush way back. I'm just going to kind of blend the rock in here. And then we'll go back over this once we get the rock texture added onto this landscape material and just kind of smooth it all out a little bit, because a little jagged on some of these. And when you get further away, this material is an auto culling. So if we smooth out the edges, that should help that a lot. Okay, get some rock stuff added in. Ooh. Just kind of add in a little bit of rocks poking through just a hair. And then we're going to do layer 2 with no blend, and we're going to drop the tool strength down a lot. And then I'm going to just barely kind of start to get that mossy look to go over the top of these. Just kind of blending them in together. I think reducing that tool strength down a little bit helped a lot. Drop some more rocky stuff down in here. Give these angles a little more of a rocky face. Still gotta go through and do some adjusting on the landscape in general. Just got a little bit too much foliage down here. The problem is it looks great, but it looks good, but in VR specifically, it really kind of struggles. I do like the way that all of this, well, yeah, I think that's way too dark. I think now that I adjusted the lighting, I think that all that foliage I just edited is way too dark. So let's adjust that again. Just trying to blend it in, make it a little bit more aligned with that landscape. Yeah. Nice. This instance to open, edit the material. Well, that's the same one. All right, we'll save that, close that one, and we'll do the same thing here. And adjust that tint. Trying to do a little more of a pale green. There you go. A little more of a pale. Save that one. Got 4 more of these to do just to get the coloration looking good again. I'm going for a little more of that pale green. There you go. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think those other ones are still a little too dark green. Doesn't quite look right on the landscape. So we'll pull that back and see which ones we're adjusting. I think that looks good right there. Save, exit that one. Pull this back to here and see which ones we're working with. There you go. Looks pretty good. Alrighty. Okay, so that's the one that we're adjusting right there. I think that looks good. All right. Reduce that brush size back down again. And we're just going to kind of... That's probably a little thick. We're just going to paint all this on. I think probably one of the projects for this weekend is going to be go through and add in level streaming on this. What level streaming will do is it'll make it so that like when we go up to Sandy, we put a level streaming volume in here, then we can make it so that, you know, all of these meshes up here for the castle, they don't load if the player's down, you know, like here, we'll say. So that'll help kind of free up some memory too. I still just don't really know how I feel about this grass. Like maybe it's still just a little bit too green. It's okay. It's easy to adjust. I think for VR though, I do kind of like that, the disbursement, you know? It's not going to take up too much bandwidth. So it should look pretty good. Get a little bit of overlap. Big motivation for using the foliage instanced too is I think that if we kind of drop some of this foliage down, like around the worms and stuff, it doesn't make them too hard to see. You can still kind of see them. It's kind of lush and green. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go back through and change the color on the grass again. Still don't think it matches up great. That's okay though. One thing at a time. I just forgot I was going to smooth out all of this. Go scoop, or sculpt rather. Yeah, that helps out with that culling distance a lot. You can see like on this one, you zoom out, it kind of shrinks down. But with what we just smoothed out, we don't get that. That's just that texture just kind of changing the way that it renders at distance. So if we do that again, still get a little deformation, so just smooth it a little bit more. It's a good thing generally for working in VR. VR games are very demanding on computers and whatnot, so alright. It's not too bad. What the hell happened here? What the shit? Just adjust that layer we're working on. Shit, I just got rid of the puddle I'd put in. Adjust that brush strength. And then the paint tool has a smoothing function. So we can go over like a spot that I just painted on. We can smooth it. It just kind of blends the two materials together. Just kind of blends the green into the path. Gonna do a little bit more of this right here. Oh shucks. Just keep running into this layering issue. Pain in the butt. What I'd really like to try to do today as well, I want to try to find the orcs in Noesis View and try to import them into the game here. So I just realized I haven't added a name to this guy yet. So I do actually have a blueprint class for him already. So let's see. Did I add in for this guy? Okay, yeah, I've got the animation blueprint in already, so that's good. I did not do anything for the construction script, so I'm going to keep this easy on myself. And we'll just pull up the crab, because we already used him. And we're going to undock that window. Oops. I'll just go through real quick and just show you guys how to do the a text box. So on the goblin mugger that we're working on here, oops. So on this guy, we're going to add in a text render. And we're going to do horizontal alignment, set that to center. And we're just going to drop that up above his head. Maybe a little bit higher. There you go. Maybe that looks pretty good. So we will compile that. Save that. I'm going to change this text render to, we'll call it goblin name. And then we're going to add in a couple more variables here. So we'll do goblin name underscore text. I'm going to change that to text. Add another variable called as distance to show name. And we'll change that to a float. All right, now we'll go into the construction script. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the goblin name text. And we're going to get the goblin name component. And we're going to set text goblin name. I guess I didn't need to pull this one in. Just keep our blueprints a little organized here. All right, then we're going to go into event graph. And in event graph, since we are... Actually, what did I just delete? Oh, I was testing the animation sequence and the animation blend that I had for him. So, delete the event tick. And I'm just going to comment this out. And we'll just say animation testing. Okay. So up here, we're going to do get player pawn. And since we're doing this in VR, this is why we're using get player pawn. If we were doing it in third person, we would do get player character. But we have to use get player pawn since we're doing it in VR. From here, get actor location. So we're saying we're going to get the location of our guy. And we're going to use a subtract node. Plug in all right. So we got the subtraction node. That's going to help us figure out, like, as we are approaching these creatures, when it should actually display the name. We'll do vector length. And we'll plug that into a less than. So this portion of it's basically saying, subtract the distance between the player pawn as we approach the character or the creatures, and if the distance is this, so distance to show text, if it's less than whatever this distance is, then we will show the name. And the distance to show the name right now is 0, which would mean that we would just never see the name. I'm going to set that to 3,000, and that's going to allow us to see it from about 30 meters or so away. Oh, might be crashing. Nope. Okay. So now we're going to grab an event tick. Event tick is saying it's going to run every single frame. So it's going to get the text for the creature every single frame of this that we are doing this for. And we'll throw in a branch. This is basically an if statement. So we're going to plug in all the logic that we just used for, you know, as our players approaching the mob. When we get within a certain distance, we're going to have an if statement. So we're going to run this every single frame. If it's false, we're going to set visibility for the goblin name. And we're going to leave the new visibility blank because we don't want it to do anything if it's false. If we're not within that 30 meters that we had set over here, then we don't want to show the name. But if we are, then we want to do set visibility, goblin name, and then we want to select that new visibility is true. Now, if it's true, all the logic that we have so far is it'll display the text, but it's just going to be static. It's not going to rotate above the character as we, the player, are moving around. So we'll drag this out, and we're going to do set world rotation. And we want to do this for the goblin name. And right here, we're going to split the structure pin. The reason we're doing this is because for the name, we want it to stay at the same like height relative over the creature. And we don't want it to move left or right over the creature. So we're not going to change X, we're not going to change Y rotation, we're just going to change Z. And what I'm going to do here is we'll get our player pawn. So this is going to tell this whole node what that name should be rotating in relation to. We want it to rotate in relation to our player. So we're going to get actor location. And we'll get actor location again, which I could have just copy pasted that, but I'm a slow learner. And we're going to do find look at rotation. We'll start that node. We're going to start the node based on our location, the player. That's why the target is self in this particular instance. And we're setting the target to change in relation to as us. And we're going to split this struct pin as well and plug in the Z right there. Good. So that should work. And I'm just going to comment all of this out. Whoops. What did I... Oh, I added a comment over here. I'll delete that. And we'll just encapsulate all of this with a comment, and we're just gonna say logic for rotating name. And then we'll just compile that, save it. And if we go back to the viewport, we don't have a name. Why is that? That is because for the goblin name, we didn't actually fill in the field. So we'll call him Goblin Mugger. And we'll compile that and save that. Perfect. So now we should be good to go. So we'll close that. Close out our reference. So why doesn't this guy have a name? Well, because he's not the blueprint that we just made. So we want to go back to Goblin Mugger and we'll drop him out. And there it is. So now when we hop in VR, his name will rotate as we run around. And even if I simulate this level in the active viewport, since we're not in VR, we can't see it. But when we actually boot the game up in VR, we can. So that's one of the challenges, I think, of kind of doing this in VR is, and I mean, if anybody knows, I'd love a comment on if there is a good way to simulate VR without putting your headset on to like test things. But for the reading I've been doing, I haven't found anything yet, so we'll just leave him there. Oh yeah, that's terrible culling. We'll just smooth this out too. Oh, wrong tool. Jeez. It's just loading in shaders. What in tarnation happened over here? What the shit? Oh, it's because I was having the error with all the blended layers. Oh, what a pain in the butt. Okay. We're going to add in this rocky material on all of these again. That is a bummer. We did that. I'm still having that error pretty bad. Why in the shit won't you go away? Okay, there one. No plants. Increase the tool strength a little bit. Interesting. I'm still having that error with these. What a nuisance. This is the Knight's Well pond. Add in some foliage down here. Yep, so still fixing a lot of little issues as we're going through, particularly with the landscape, which is weird. It's a new material that I'm using that I actually just ended up getting off of the Fab store, but been having some problems with it. Into a lot of errors. Cool. That looks a little more neat than it did for that video last night. Ooh. I'm gonna go into the landscape tool and smooth this all out. Reduce the tool strength and the tool size. Wow. reduce the tool size down a little bit more. I'm try to just smooth some of this out. I think, yeah, I was using an experimental feature yesterday, and I think that that's what really screwed a lot of this up. Let's see if this is the water layer. This is the water layer. That is such a pain in the butt. So I was experimenting yesterday because I was building this pond out, and I wanted to use like an experimental water feature that would, like, you know, kind of add like some waves in, add some kind of realism to it, and that was in the plugins setting for water. I was trying the water and water extras. You can see these are all experimental, and I plugged that in, and it really screwed some stuff up, man. It really screwed some stuff up. So now this is outside of that water layer now, so this should just be our standard layer, which it is. Smooth all this out. Now over here, smooth these out. Just cleaning everything up, making it look a little bit nicer. So the height map that we used worked pretty good. Pretty proud of making that tool, actually. It was pretty fun. So I was experimenting with, if you've played Final Fantasy XI, down in the corner of the zone here, there's all these, you know, all these walls. And I was experimenting with this style of wall. And I think I don't like it. I don't like it, so we're going to find a different wall here. I go into static mesh and type in wall. And I think mossy wall B. Let's see what that looks like. Let that load those textures in. Nice. All right. Let's see if we make that a little bit taller. Does that kind of look like shit, or does it look okay? Kind of looks like shit. Okay. Expand that out that way. Make that wall. Just want to shorten it up a little bit. Just drop that down into the earth a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer. And then if you're new to Unreal, to duplicate stuff, hold down the Alt key and then pull off of it. Oops. Set my snapping rotation to 10 degrees so I can get that to 90 degrees. Yeah. You know, I wonder if I select both of these, if I pull them up and layer them just kind of on top of each other. Make that wall a little bit taller. Does that look okay? It doesn't look very good. Let's see what other options we've got for this wall that might look a little bit better. bugging out. Okay, there it is. Let's see if we increase that. Yeah, that's more what I'm looking for. That looks a little bit better. I want that mossy side to be outside. Damn, the rotation's all screwed up for these. Alright, cool. Put that to around 90 degrees. And drop that. Do something like that. Yeah, that looks okay. And I'm gonna just been kind of doing this as I've been going along, just trying to clean up stuff as I see it. Smooth this all out. Cool. I think that side looks pretty good. And we'll just duplicate these two. Delete that. Delete that. Rotate this one. Come on now. Do about 180 degrees. Again, I know these walls, if you've never played the game, these are going to look like they don't really make sense being here. But this is where they are in the zone. I don't really know why. Just kind of drop that down in right there. Delete that one out. Just going to kind of overlap those two a little bit. And then go back into landscape, and I'm going to sculpt this up a little bit. Right. Cool. Well, that looks kind of nice. Get all of this saved up. That looks like shit. Gonna bump that brush size up a lot. Just smooth all of this out. What is that? Oh, this is where more of these walls were supposed to be. So that was when I imported the height map. I actually kept the these walls over here as a part of the original static mesh, and then I built the height map off of it. And when I built the height map, these were all still in, so it didn't really know how to capture that data, so it just did this. So we will just grab these. And we're going to move these over. And we'll just put them right about there. Oh, I think that looks good. I'll expand this wall down and off of that one. And then we'll get rid of that big old bump. And we'll sculpt that up a little bit. Drop the brush size off. Cool. We got another wall added in there. And then these, I actually hopped into Westerana for a couple days ago in FFXI just to get some scale on some stuff, and these are way too big. I'm going to keep that one as reference there, and then we'll just grab these three, and we're going to drag these all out. Hey, Blank Page, how's it going, man? Gonna rotate that 180. You still working on your Blender Cathedral?
Level up your goals by connecting them to relevant projects, so every team knows their role in the bigger picture. Asana, the #1 AI work management platform.
Drop
Try
that
for free
like
today
that.
at asana.com.
I'm gonna rotate that just a smidge to make it a little straighter. All right.
And confirm.
Blank Page. How is your morning going? Yeah, I don't really do live very often. Oh, nice. You're working on it right now. Good stuff. I don't really go live very often. It's not really my cup of tea, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I've just been having so much fun with all this stuff, and I'm by no means like an Unreal expert or anything like that. But I don't know. I figured, people might hop on and might be able to encourage some folks that have never used Unreal before to download it and try it out. Thought that could be kind of fun. So this wall ends right about here from that height map data that I had. Oh, it's night for you? What in tarnation? It is about 6 a.m. for me. Well, if it's nighttime for you, in that case, how was your day? So I'm going to, we can actually make a packed level actor out of these. So I'm going to select all of them and do a packed level actor. And we'll just call this PL underscore lower wall. Ugh. Ah, cool, man. That's awesome. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. When so you said in your comments, did you go to school for game development? And if so, honestly, just spitballing ideas. I don't know if I'm going to end up going back to school for game development or anything, but it's definitely crossed my mind because I know that this is what I want to do. I just don't know that I can afford it, honestly. Done the rest of the 2D animation I was working on before continuing with this. Nice. Nice. I've been struggling recently with the 3D animation stuff. And I'll kind of, once I finish this wall here, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. So get that wall saved in there. So one of the things that I have been struggling with here, let's pull up the goblin animation. So I've been working on creating like the blend spaces using the sequencer. And so like this one is idle to fight, which is a bad example because that one's not done. So I'll pull up like the movement. But you can see like just kind of walking around into like a run. So I created like a blended space of these animations for him. But I've been really struggling with like actually figuring out how to actually make like the blend spaces and bring everything together. So get this pulled over here. Rotate that about 180 degrees. Have you had a chance to check out that Ryan Laley guy's channel? Blank page. Smooth out all of this. Get all these rough edges down. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Get out of Goblin Mugger. We'll put one of these guys down here. I also need to build out the AI for all their movement and everything. Flatten that out. All right. Got one more of these walls to put right here. $180 about. Pull this up. And drop this down like that. Smooth all of this. A little bit more. Cool. So here, just trying to write a long comment. Oh. Seems to be a latency in the comments between when I write and you read. Yeah, I've got my internet's not great, so I have a little bit more of a latency just to kind of like provide a little bit more of a buffer for like when I talk. It helps the video like compile and look a little bit better. I will do save all. I kind of add in a little more puddle. A little more puddle stuff on the roads. I think that'll look nice. Which was this path. And we'll just make that brush a little bit smaller. Yeah, that'll look good. Like if we put the sun so that it's like setting down over there, get a really nice view of those puddles. Nice. How long, actually, I'm curious, how long is that latency? Because I don't have it set for too much time. Yeah. Yeah, and that was I was like, I went to school probably about 10 years ago for business, and because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so I went to school for business, and I mean, it's served me well, but just kind of ready to get out of it, I guess. I knew nothing, so it did help me learn. So you got that already covered. The real tough stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, 10 seconds. Okay. That's actually I'm okay with that. I'm okay with around 10 seconds. Yeah, I do agree with you, and I've been trying to do like some game jams and stuff just to get a little bit of networking in and meet some folks and learn a little bit more about like source control and GitHub and just some different tools that you can use for that sort of thing, cuz that is definitely, I think for me that's definitely a big skill lack, I guess you'd say. Lack of skill. Oh, no worries, dude. I forgot my other question, too. I've only had one cup of coffee, so forgive me. Super green over here and less green over here. Oh, yeah. I forgot. I added in all these other dudes with names, so I might as well get rid of the ones that don't have names. Oh, I need to add the name for the bat, too. Worm, BP, worm. Some worms around here. And I'm also going to, I'm just going to make a little spot up here with that weapon that we can rest it on. Yeah, I would like to avoid going back to school if I can, just for the price tag of it. But it's one of those things too where, you know, going to school, you get the credentialing, you get the piece of paper that says that you know what you're doing, and that goes a long ways. I'm going to drop in a little wooden bucket here. We'll just scale that up a little bit. And then on this wooden bucket, I'm going to drop the blueprint for the shield. Whoops. And we'll drop down the blueprint for the dagger as well. Now we've actually got something that somebody can pick up and run around the zone with. So this project, do you plan to add combat like in the game? Yes, I do. So that's actually going to be something that I start working with once the environment is done. So for, you know, this weekend, probably next week, I'm just going to kind of continue to polish up the environment and just, you know, make it a little bit nicer. And then the latency's more like 30 seconds. My time's all messed up too, man. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be adding in combat and and that's kind of what I'm struggling with on the animation side for like the creatures. So again, like going into the goblin, I've got, you know, all the animations for each one of these guys is imported. So if I go into, you know, like the goblin blueprint, for example, you know, I can import a lot of these different ones and I can link them up, and you can kind of see all of these different animations that I've got in here. So the problem that I'm running into is that I don't know enough about animation. So I'm going through like an animation class right now to get all these guys set up. And then once all of these different animations are done, instead of just having like the idle animation, which if I simulate, you just kind of see him doing his idle animation. But once I have all the animations set up, then I'll build out like an AI behavior tree, so they'll kind of like randomly roam around. So yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. That was my other question. The guides. That's right. That Ryan Laley dude that I had mentioned, that guy is a wizard. He's very, very good. Okay, I was also going to do the bat, so we'll make a. First and foremost, we'll make a materials folder to clean this up a little bit. And we will make a texture folder and drop both of these in there. Thanks. I'm glad you think it's cool. I've been having fun with it. BP underscore bat, not bat 5. BP underscore bat. So we'll open this up. And we're going to add in a skeletal mesh. And we'll call this bat skeleton. And we'll select his skeletal mesh over on the right. And we're going to use the bat BP underscore, where is it? What in tarnation? Oh, I don't have the right name for this one. Animation blueprint bat. Okay. There it is. Cool. So now we got his animation assigned. And we're going to do a text render. Again, center. And put that up above him like that. And we'll call this one, this text render box, we'll call it bat name. Add in another variable. We'll do distance to show as a float. Add in another variable. We'll call this one bat name text. And we're going to change this one to text. Compile so that it'll show us. And the bat name text. What are the bats in this zone called? Let's go to the BG wiki. West Ronfauer. What are the bats called? Mouse bat. That's what they're called in the game. So we'll say mouse bat. And the distance to show, we've been keeping this at 3,000. That should be everything that we need to do in the viewport. So next, I'm going to pull up one that I've already done. Whoops. Okay. Okay. So we will go to the construction script. We're going to set text to bat name. And we're going to get bat name. And that's all that we need to do for the construction script. And then in the event graph, we're going to delete all of those nodes. And I'm going to cheat, and I'm just going to copy paste this. Just to save time. Delete that. We're going to pull this one in, plug that in there. Get player pawn, get actor location, subtract. Okay, get rid of the crab name nodes because we copied it. And we'll pull in the get bat name. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Which one am I pulling in? Oh, the component. Set that target, and I think I've got one more. Yeah, I've got this crab name since I copied it, and we'll get the bat name and plug that one in there. Save, compile, close that, and we'll drop the bat out and see if that one worked. Bat blueprint. There he is. Little mouse bat with the text above his head. All right. Well, I am rapidly approaching the time of day for me to actually get out and start doing real life stuff. So I'm gonna goof around with just one more thing. Well, we'll actually just test it out really quick. See how it works. I don't even know what this is going to do to the stream, so buckle up. I've never streamed VR. This could be messy. This could be real messy. Okay, that didn't work. Where is... Okay, it's just loading. I'm gonna do... Get that out of the way. Get this headset working. It's thinking. You have a good day too, Blank Page. Thanks for hopping on. All right, we're gonna turn that off and turn it back on and see if we can get it to work. Just gonna reboot this headset actually. Oh, wait. Okay, now it's working. Now it's working. All right. Cool. So we got that booted up now. We've got start from current camera location. And we'll do a VR preview. Okay. Where is it? Okay. So, where'd the weapons go? I just put them down. I have to adjust the height of that name, I think. The foliage looks pretty good. I think I need to change the... It's definitely too green. Definitely too green. I wonder why the weapons didn't populate in here. Close that out and give that another shot. Why aren't these loading in? Bizarre. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this is... Yeah, you know what? I don't think that has any collision presets enabled. I'll just drop a cube out and... because that'll have all the collision that I need for it. So I think that those weapons just fell through that barrel. Because I don't think that it has collision on. Okay. Try this again, see if that loaded up. There they are. That fixed the problem. So this is another debugging thing that I'm going to have to do. Goof around with, rather. Oh my god. Oh shit. So, for some reason, the locomotion works when I walk around, but then when I pick this up, my movement just gets... It just wants me to go left. So, I gotta figure that out. But, kind of run around and explore a little bit. Really, I'm just trying to optimize the performance of the game, really. I've been running into a lot of problems with foliage rendering and landscape stuff working. So that's good, though. We got the name popping up when we get a certain distance away. But the texture all looks pretty good. Got landscape deformation, though, as we approach. So have to work on fixing that. All right. Well, I was laughing at the shield too. All right, if you're still there, Blank Pages, good seeing you. Good talking to you. All right, well, that's going to end it for this morning. But made some good progress. Definitely got some stuff to change. All right. Cool. Well, anybody that hopped on, I appreciate you. And I will, I'll see you next time.